Hey everybody, welcome to Game 2 of Google versus IBM. We've got some AHGL 8 League action for you. And we just finished Game 1, in which, spoilers, Google took it. Play-Doh Mask won a pretty solid game over VDZ with good harassment. And VDZ just really couldn't quite make it work.
Yeah, Play-Doh Mask played really well, then macroed really well, got up his bases, and out-macroed his opponent a little bit, always consistently being ahead in supply throughout the entire game.
Yeah, you bet. Solid and we'll see if they can continue it in this game, or if IBM will come back, as they've been hoping to do in this match.
Absolutely. That was a TVT mirror match in Game 1. In Game 2, we're going to have another mirror match. This time it's Protoss versus Protoss.
That's right. So in the top, in the blue for Team Google, we have
Google Kick.
And in the bottom left on Daybreak here, we have the IBM player,
IBM Zebulon.
Cool. So one of these players was random. I think it was Zabulon. I think. But
hang on.
But he did roll Protoss. Okay. So that's the game we have for you.
Okay. That's interesting. So Zabulon for IBM doesn't know what his opponent's race is. And I guess that's why he's sending out such an early scout.
So there you go. Both players scouting pretty early.
On this map, I just want to talk about this map a little bit. If we could look at the mineral line
sure.
in the main. What could happen is as Protoss, you could pylon off that area in the back of the mineral line and build cannons in there.
Oh,
and and do a cannon rush that way.
That's dirty.
I know, and it happens on ladder and even in tournaments all the time. So yeah, so that's something to look out for.
Yeah, maybe not in this game, but in your game, because it looks like we have two gates, so we won't see any crazy cannon rushes. Not too cheesy this game so far.
Valid strategy, but yeah, I guess both players not opting to do a cannon rush cheese. Good choice, good choice.
And we'll see two assimilators from Cake right off the bat.
Protoss versus Protoss has changed quite a bit, actually, from Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm. So there's a lot more.
Do you feel safer?
Do I feel more? Yeah, I feel safer with less units because of the Mothership Core. It's such a great defensive unit, and air units are really, really strong.
Interesting.
I'm just curious why Cake is not getting
Cake
more.
Gradually adding workers to his gas. It looks like he's got 3 in gas, 2 in one, 1 in the other.
But he cut probes for just a little bit there. So, but in any case, yeah, air units are really strong for PvP in Heart of Swarm, and you almost never see air toss in Wings of Liberty, except for Mass Phoenix play, which is tricky to pull off, right? And
true.
And if you, oh wow, nice.
Ooh, so Zabulon gonna hide this probe here. So it looks like Cake hasn't seen it yet.
We we might see some shenanigans after all.
Oh, he has a stalker rallied right here though, so he should.
Does,
unless that changes, he'll see it.
But yeah, pretty standard openings from both players. Wait a minute, we got Twilight Council, so we might see some Dark Templar play coming out of Zabulon, our IBM player. Meanwhile, Cake from Google is just going for probably just a 3 stalker opening, probably into Stargate.
Yep. And so yeah, this the DT cost was reduced, right? The Dark Shrine.
Absolutely, yeah. And
that's leading to a lot more DT play.
Right.
I am.
But it's safe to go air because oracles do detect. They can cast a spell that would detect cloaked units. So it's really not bad to go air. But no, we get Blink Stalker play coming out of Zabulon. Excellent.
And the 4 gates from Cake.
So okay, Blink Stalker versus 4 gates. This might be a quick game with a Mothership Core. This will be interesting. This is like a modified, enhanced 4-gate all-in play.
The Mothership Core is going to have to get there if he wants to use it for offense. Otherwise, maybe he's just leaving it at home as like an extra safe way to do this, where he can proxy a pylon and then Nexus overcharge and just leave it there. Ooh, Cake does get that.
Great pickup from Cake. Now the 1v1 Stalker versus Stalker from, and both players just backing off.
Yep,
but
backing up to their respective cliffs.
There we
Cake
go.
warping in one more Stalker and is moving the Mothership core across the map, it looks like.
So the 4-gate's starting to kick in. Look at that. Nothing in the production tab. So
that's right.
So Cake is cutting probes right now. He's just going all in with units. And meanwhile, Zabulon getting a robotics on top of... He has no units.
Yeah,
he's only got one Stalker.
He just now has a Mothership core.
Yeah, and that Mothership core has no energy for overcharge.
That's right.
And
this is looking really one-sided right now. Cake moving in, starting to take out probes. The probes come to fight.
Wow, great mineral walk there from the probes, but is that going to be enough? Mothership core doing just a little bit of damage, but no, it's getting targeted down, and this is looking really good for Cake right now.
3 more Stalkers come in. Cake is looking really strong right now.
Google
He's in
might
the
be
line.
up to the nothing, and yeah,
GG! Quickest game.
That was a pretty quick game.
Yeah.
And good job from the Google player going all in on 4 gates and with a Mothership core. So with a Mothership core, if the 4 gates doesn't work, if he gets trapped or sentried out, or if his army gets split off, he could recall his whole army back in the base. So it's a pretty safe play coming out of Google. And
it also really changes that the ramp dynamic where you can get vision up the cliff without having a robo. You don't have to invest that cost. You can just bring your Mothership core along, and then if it all goes wrong, bring yourself back home.
Absolutely. And I feel like IBM was a little bit greedy on the tech. He didn't have a lot of Stalkers out. I mean, he was already researching Blink. And so a little bit greedy. I feel like if he got like maybe another gateway or 2 and started pumping out more units, that would have been more effective.
Yeah, I think there's a scouting issue there, seeing the 2 assimilators and still going for Twilight Council with Blink on top of a robo without getting the Mothership core.
Right.
So like all of those things added up to having just a really weak defense for that one moment where the 4-gate hit, and that second warp in really sealed the deal, even though he did a reasonable job against the first warp in.
But Cake, I mean he came in aggressive. He was like, he went all in, right? And he attacked.
You bet.
Confidently. That's good, because
solid game.
You have to punish your opponent for teching greedily.
And now we've had as much analysis as a game. So we're going to go to game 3. We'll take a brief break, and we'll see you in a minute.